Yes, thank you all for joining today's webinar on Vedic chanting, Rudram. So there's a lot to this. We're going to go deep with our esteemed faculty, Sri Asoji, who's just getting over COVID. Thank you for being on with us today. Well wishes, and we'll see how today goes. But I know you are up for it. You're strong, ready to do this. So glad to have you on today, Sri
Yes,
Asoji.
a
So let me
few
just give.
virus will not stop.
Yeah, does not stop. So let me just give a quick background and introduce you, and we'll get started. Right, and we know that the practice of Sanatana Dharma encompasses major dimensions, two vital dimensions: Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga, or Jnana Kanda and Karma Kanda. Right, we also talk about Bhakti Yoga and some other ones, but we're going to focus on the Veda mantra chanting, which is the bridge between Karma Kanda, the application, and Jnanakanda, the knowledge. So Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya emphasizes the importance of accurate chanting and understanding of mantras. And so Sri Asoji has been focusing in on that in the webinars, in his courses, in his work, and all the lectures that he gives around the country. And so in this webinar, in this course, we're going to introduce you to the much needed explanation and the meaning and the intonation of select mantras and explore their application in Nitya and daily application, the Naimitika, the occasional, and the Kamya, the desire-driven rituals. And we use them during vratas and utsavs and so many different places. So let me introduce Sri Asoji. He's actually a retired analyst from the Franklin County Board of Development Disabilities in Columbus, Ohio. But it is his academic background, not just in physics and mathematics and law and computer sciences, his academic background as a Vedic scholar. He's been trained in Sanskrit from a young age. He's received formal training in the Vedas for about 9 years from Acharya of Yajurveda, Professor Ananta Krishna of Bangalore Sanskrit College. And he's been teaching the Veda and Vedanta to students, to devotees, to a lot of people since 1995 in the United States. And he's continuing to teach. And his work with Hindu University of America has been amazing. He's one of these gurus who can do the mantra, can do the ritual, and explain it line by line, word by word. Why do we do this? What is this important? And he answers questions. He's become one of our very popular faculty at Hindu University of America because it's such an important subject. People have these questions, and he is one of these experts who can actually explain why we do this ritual. What is the meaning behind it? And so the chanting of it is also deep and has those extra level connections. So Shri Asochi, I am glad and proud that you are continuing to work with Hindu University of America. And we have 50 people with us on a Friday at noon Eastern. So thank you everyone for joining. And Shri Asochi, thank you for doing this webinar. And we'll take your questions, put them in the Q&A chat, put in the Q&A box, put in the chat where you're zooming in from, and we'll give you a shout out later on. With that, let me hand it to Shishi Aswaji to get us started. Dhanyawad.
Thank you. Thank you, Ankurji. I'm greatly honored to be here. And as you mentioned, on a working day, Friday afternoon, we have so many of our friends on the in this webinar. A very hearty welcome to you, and that tells us how you value this particular course on Rudra. So, taking off from the introduction of Ankurji, as he mentioned, there is Jnana Kanda, there is Karma Kanda, and then there is the bridge between Jnana Kanda and Karma Kanda. We can slightly look at it a little differently. The little different viewpoint is that we are actually controlled and governed by the three gunas. We have the tamas. The tamas is where we actually um, have a little bit of sloth, laziness, lack of enthusiasm. and lack of perseverance. When I take up a project, we do not see through that till the end, and we lose interest in the middle. So that is all because of tamas. And then we get extremely active in society, and we are looking for stimulus from external society, and then we go on acting, reacting in society, and that's called rajoguna. And then there is very little bit of focus, concentration, withdrawal, then the desire to be in solitude periodically. All of those is sattva guna. So what the Vedic rishis thought was, let us do a ritual. By doing ritual, our tamo guna actually mitigates, and we wake up and we become active. And then what texts such as the Rudra Dhyaya that we are going to study, the Rudra mantras, and texts such as the contemplative mantras we have in the Vedas, what they do is they spiritualize our rajas, they spiritualize our activities. It gives us a sattva guna, and then because of sattva guna, we go to the contemplation on the self and the Upanishads, and that is how, because of the Veda mantras, we actually control all our three gunas. So, in this scheme of controlling of the gunas, that is completely reducing tamas, and then spiritualizing rajas, and then getting us ready for the sattva practice, Rudra acts as that bridge. It reduces tamas, and it also encourages us for becoming a sattva person, a sattvika person, and then it gives meaning to our life. So I have to tell you a story. In this story, there are a group of sages who have gone through all the challenges of life. And then, when you balance all of our experience in life, we have more of challenges and dukkha and sorrow, disappointments than successes. If you look at the span of everybody's life. And so they started looking, why is all this? And the very learned seekers of reality, um, Sanskrit calls them as Brahmavadins, they joined together and they started speculating. And here are the questions they raised in that assembly. First and foremost, they asked, what is the original causeless cause from which everything is derived, and we are in this particular state? So, put in a simple Sanskrit, Kim Karanam. What is this original causeless cause? Then they asked, from where have we really come? It is not the biological thing, it is how did we happen to be here? Kutasmajataha. Then what is it that really sustains us? Many things that we thought that is going to sustain, whether it is money or friends or family or society, all of them have got some weaknesses. But by reason, what is it that we are truly sustained? Jivamakena. And where are we established? Kvachasam pratishtaha. And then by which system that we are experiencing sukha and dukkha, comfort and discomfort. No answer was satisfactory. So the question is, when none of these questions and any answers we get are not giving us satisfaction, what do we do? Where do we go next? Friends, Ankurji, you know what these sages did? They went into meditation. That is the only way. Te dhyana yoganugata apashyan. They went into deep meditation and they discovered What did they discover? The power of God hidden behind our trigunas. This is the reason why I introduced the concept of trigunas, Rajas, Sattva, and Tamas. Sattva, Rajas, Tama gunas are palpable. We are able to experience them. But there is something behind it that manifests these powers at a time when we least expect them. Why is that? So this Bhagavata Apashan Devatma Shaktim Sagunairnikudham. They discovered this power of the Shakti that they had is within our own guna, Swagunairnikudham. Then the question came, okay, you say that there was this shining principle called Deva. Who is that God? What is that energy? What is that reality? What is that one? Then the sages found Eko hi Rudro nadvitiyaya sastaha. There is one Rudra. And then there's only one Rudra. And he has no second. And where is he found? Wherever there is the Trigunas, he is behind it. He is behind the fire, Agni, which represents the guna of Rajas. Yo Agnau. Yo Apsu. He is in water, which is flowing and represents the Rajoguna. Yo Vishwam Bhuvanamavivesha. With the Tamas, that is, the world is, just like a rock is, just like a mountain is. In the Tamoguna, he is there. Ya Oshadhishu, he is in the herbs. Ya Vanaspatishu, he is in the plants and trees. To that Rudraya Namo Astu. They prostrated, and after discovering this Rudra, and this is how the background of the mantras that we are going to study came up. This course, which is Rudra Namaka, we are taking it from Krishna Yajurveda Samhita. This is from the Krishna Yajurveda part. And the scriptures extol these beautiful mantras by saying, among all the knowledge that base we have got, and among all the sources of knowledge we have got, Vidya Sushruti Krishna, among them, Veda is considered as the most sacred. And in that Vedic corpus, Rudra Ekadashini, the mantras that we are going to chant is considered as the very essence of the entire Veda. Because in that group of the mantras, we have the Panchakshari, the 5 letters, Shivaya Namaha. Salutations to Shiva. In fact, it is such a powerful one. Whenever I have my grandchildren picking up from the school, I just kid with them. I have fun with them. I tell them I want to make sure that it is my grandchildren who are entering into my car. What is the password? I asked them, what is the password? You know what they said? My 5-year-old grandson came up with the password Om Namah Shivaya. So enter into my car by saying Om Namah Shivaya. You can imagine even a baby knows the power of Shiva. Shishurvetti, a child knows. And because it is of that power, it is because behind every living being there is the Shiva. And Panchakshara is Shivaya Namaha. Tasya Shiva Ityaksharam Dvayam. There is Shiva. So this is the preamble of how our sages discovered the concept of Rudra and how Rudra became Shiva, and that is the part of our course. And we have got 11 paragraphs which we will be studying spread over the 10. We learn the mantras, we are going to know the meaning, and we will also, behind these mantras, the various legends that have been presented in our Puranas. So this is how the story of the development of the Rudra starts. And then I'll pause here if any of you in the assembly have any question before I go on to my next idea about this course. Ankurji, do you think that we have any questions? Let me
Yeah.
also.
Oh, sorry, I'm off video. Do we have questions in the Q&A box? Yes, we have two. The pace of the class is one of the questions. So how fast do you go? What are the assignments? People are always interested in knowing those kinds of details. So if you want to get into that.
Sure. The in every class, what I usually do is I chant a section of the mantra, and 4 to 5 volunteers in the class will repeat after me, which means that every mantra will be repeated 4 to 5 times. And then, of course, the rest of the class would have muted and they would be also chanting. So that way, each mantra is repeated 4 to 5 times. And that is the pace at which we will go. And then we have 11 paragraphs and we have got 10 sessions. And these mantras have got a little bit of tongue twisting here and there, but then we will sort it out. Then another tool that I will provide is that 1 minute clips of each one of the mantras I will record in my voice and then share it with everyone in the class so that you can listen to that 1 minute clips over and over, because in as you are driving, if you have a commute of about 20 minutes, you can listen to it and repeat it 20 times, which means at the end of every week you would have mastered that part of the portion. And of course, you will also have known the meaning of the mantras in the course of our studies. And then you can also start applying it in ritual. You can start joining the chanting that happens in assemblies, either in somebody's home when they do the Abhisheka, or when you go to the temple when the priest is chanting, you will be able to join. And some of those samples are there, Ankurji, on our LMS because of the another course I just now concluded, which is Introduction to Vedic Chanting. Yeah, in that is how we have created playlists of the entire Rudra mantra will be available to you, and each one of them lasting around 1 minute, so that you'll be able to practice and learn.
Yeah, that's been the beauty of Hindu University of America, and especially faculty like yourself who are so well versed. You have such a wide range, taking from one course to the next. You add, you apply, you change. So one of the questions is there a prerequisite for this course, or can they take this standalone?
There is no prerequisite. It's standalone. The way we have designed all the Vedic chants, all Vedic chanting courses are standalone. But then if you take successively different Vedic chanting courses, you will get an overall picture of knowing much more. For example, as I said, we just concluded the introduction to Vedic chanting. Then next time when we offer the same course again, that also is a standalone course. The Rudra is a standalone course. Introduction to Vedic ritual, standalone course. But that doesn't mean they are exclusive of each other. They're all part of the entire Vedic experience.
Nice. So there is no prerequisite for this course, but they all weave an interconnected web, and your depth and understanding grows as you take more. I've dropped the details of the course for this one. Rudram specifically in the chat is going to be on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Trupti ji, yeah. So if you haven't mastered Vedic chanting, one course or mantras, Trupti ji, you can still take this. Shriyaswaji will take you through it. Balabat from California, thank you for joining. Akanksha ji, the question she has is, can women chant the Hanuman Chalisa or anything in particular? I know that's one thing that comes up. Women can't do this because of this. How do you approach it? How do you address that kind of concern and issue?
In fact, our scriptures say that nobody can be excluded from this knowledge. Unfortunately, in the culture, somewhere in the middle, some confusions were introduced that women cannot chant or people of a particular caste cannot chant. But when we go back to Rig Veda, there is a very clear instruction that everybody should chant and learn the Veda. Vedo nityam adhiyat. Everybody should learn the Vedas. And in the Gurukula system, after a person graduates, an instruction is given to the person graduating. You go home and you teach Aryaya Charanaya Cha. Whatever you have learned, the Veda, you teach to your spouse and you teach to your servants. In the olden days, they used to have many servants who tended to cattle, who cleaned the house and all that. So in the evening, a person is enjoined to teach whatever he has learned in the Gurukula. So please do not hesitate. There is no prohibition for anyone learning the Veda. In fact, some of my extraordinarily good students are all women. In fact, many of my women students have also started their own Gurukulas in different centers. We have one in Chicago, in the Bay Area, in Dallas, in Columbus, in number of cities. Even in India, in Bangalore, I have students who are teaching. So that way, you learn and you teach. And that's another important point, friends. That is, please approach this course not just as students, but as students who want to teach. So please learn to teach. And therefore, once you make that determination, I want to take this course so that I can teach to another person, then your attention, your focus, your concentration will be multifold. So please do not hesitate.
Yeah, and
There's
it's
no.
so amazing. Yeah, don't hesitate. And it's so amazing that you have taken this teach the teacher model, right? Train the trainer. And like you said, in so many different places and mandirs, there are people who are doing this. So we want to encourage that. We want to partner. We'll do some more in-person events like that. You've been participating in the retreats. We'll do another one. And on Zoom, it's one thing for you to, and we'll try this. If there's anybody who wants to repeat, chant the mantra after Shri Asoji leads. We'll do that during the webinar so you get a feel for that as well. Raise your hand in the chat window or in the participant window if you'd like to participate in that way. We'll do one of those, but in person, right? The vibrations are just at a different level. Oh, Nina Narumunchi Ji is in. Yes, we'll have Nina Ji do a little chanting after you. She's also asking, is Namakam and Chamakam, are they part of Rudram?
We are going to do only Namakam because to take on both Namakam and Chamakam in one quarter is not possible. So we will follow probably in the spring quarter, we will take up Chamakam. But now we are going to do only Namakam.
Okay, we've got a couple of hands up. Of course, Nina Ji, I will give. Is it possible to do 2 or 3 people, or you think that's too much?
No, we will do a short piece of the mantra so that.
All right, so I'll give Nina Ji and Prem Harishankar wanted to. So we'll try 2 people. All right, you can unmute yourself and then follow Sri Asoji.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yes. So I will just chant one mantra, and then I will also give you a little bit of an expounding on that also, just to get a flavor of how it would be in a class. So here goes the mantra. We always start by saying Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Harihi Om. So please note that we will never start chanting or repeating without salutations to the Guru Parampara. We say Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Harihi Om. And then here is the mantra. Sahasrani sahasrasho. Now for the repetition.
Sahasrani sahasra sho.
Sahasrani sahasrasho.
Ye Rudra adhibhumyam.
Ye Rudra adhibhumyam.
Ye Rudra abhibhumyam.
Teshagam.
Eshagam.
Sorry.
Sahasrayojane.
Sahasrayojane.
Ya sahasrayojane.
Vadhanvasi.
Swadhanvasi.
Swadanvasi.
So this is how Sahasrani Sahasrasho Ye Rudra Adhibhumyam Teshagam Sahasrayo Jane Vadhanvasi. So this is how we will do, and this is how we will repeat, and then you very soon you will be able to follow. And of course, we have got texts also. We have prepared a manual both in Devanagari Sanskrit script as well as in English transliterary, and that material also will become available to you. Now, what is this mantra? What does it mean? One of the definitions of Rudra is that he is both benevolent as well as horrific. He can create enormous amount of dread, fear, and then he can cause havoc. So there is a legend behind this. The creator Chaturmukha Brahma actually was charged with the duty of procreation, so that all the species will continue to procreate. Then he creates a child, and this child was preceded by the birth of 4 children called the Kumaras. And Brahma says to Kumaras, you go procreate. But then they say, we are not interested. We are going to remain celibate. We are not going to marry. And then Shiva gets extremely angry, very quick to temper. So he gets very angry. And then from the middle of the eyebrow, a child came out and it dropped into his lap. And this child was howling and shouting. And then Brahma asked, why are you shouting like this? Then this child said, who am I? What is my name? This in the Sanskrit, howler means Rudra. So Brahma said, okay, your name is Rudra. And what do you want me to do? Hey, Rudra, go and procreate. So what he did was, he went and started procreating diseases, angry people, weapons, and started destruction. And how? Thousandfold, sahasrani, sahasrashaha, thousands and thousands, ye rudraha adipumyam, those who have manifested in this world. And Brahma was flabbergasted. What is it you have done? You asked me to procreate. I procreated with the mood that I had got. Then that was when Rudra mantras, the Namaka mantras was introduced. And then say, all of them, Shiva, Rudra, will throw them thousands of miles away so that the particular devotee is not affected. And therefore, this Rudra became great. He drives away evil. He becomes fit to be praised. So we started saying, Namaste Astu Bhagavan Vishveshwaraya. If you want, you can repeat. Namaste Astu Bhagavan.
Namaste astu Bhagavan.
Namaste astu Bhagavan.
Vishveshwaraya Mahadevaya
Vishveshwaraya Mahadevaya
Vishveshwaraya Mahadevaya
Triyambakaya Tripurantakaya
Trayambakaya Tripurantakaya
Trayambakaya Tripurandakaya
Trikagnikalaya Kalagnirudraya
Trikagnikalaya Kalagnirudraya
Trigagnikalaya Kalagnirudraya
Neelakantaya Mrityunjayaya
Neela
Neelakantaya Mrityunjayaya
Neelakantaya Mrityunjayaya
Sarveshwaraya Sadashivaya Srimanmahadevaya Namaha.
सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः
Sarveshwaraya Sadashivaya Sriman
Mahadevaya Namaha. So you see,
Mahadevaya Namaha.
so this much of prayer is enough to please Shiva. So Shiva is also called Ashutosha. Ashutosha means one who is easily pleased and who is pleased immediately. So what all the devotees do is you offer worship, you pray, and then he grants all boons without judging them. He doesn't judge to whom he is giving the boon. And then he gives the boons even to demons. There is a lovely story in the Brahmanda Purana. There is a story where Shiva was meditating and he was disturbed by Cupid Manmatha, and Shiva opens his third eye and Manmatha is reduced to ashes. So in the assembly of Shiva, they're called as Shiva Gunas, Shiva Ganas. These Shiva Ganas, there was one person by name Chitrakarma, and what this Chitrakarma did was he collected all these ashes, just for fun, and then molds it into a human form. And as soon as that, Shiva's glance falls on that figure and it gets life. So we have a mantra, Yasya Chaya Mrityur, Yasya Amrutam. The glance of Shiva gives us life. The grace of Shiva gives us life and prosperity. When he turns away from us, it is death. So Chitrakarma uh, formed this, and Shiva's glance fell on it, and this form made up of the ashes got life just because of Shiva's glance. Is that not true? If you look at our own personality, my body, for example, is absolutely inert. Without the life force behind it, it is a dead body. Why is it I am alive? In this body, which is actually a Shava, Shava means dead body. In that Shava, because there is Shiva, I am alive. So this concept is given in the Shatarudriya because Chitravarma, who actually was the one who gave form to these ashes, and Shiva's glance made it alive. Chitrakarma advises this person, you chant Shatarudriya, you chant the Rudra mantras, and he keeps chanting the Rudra mantras. And then immediately this person is blessed by Shiva, and Shiva says, you become the overlord of the universe for 64,000 years. So this is a metaphor. Please take all these stories as metaphors and not absolute reality at granular level. That means when the great Shiva is there, we live every moment very purposefully. We live every moment dynamically. We live every month productively. So our 100 years of life is actually equal to 64,000 years of life. Because if you think very carefully, in 24 hours, really, how many minutes do we have 100% concentration and focus in what we do? So this is the message here. Living for 60,000, 4,000 years means when Shiva's glance is there, every minute of our life is lived in excellence. And of course, he becomes a demon. He's called as Bandasura. And then we know in Lalita Sahasranama that Lalita Tripura Sundari actually slays him. Now, this is how a prayer, Namaste Astu Bhagavan Vishveshwaraya Maha Devaya Triyambakaya Tripurantakaya Trikagni Kalaya Kalagni Rudraya Nila Kantaya Mrityunjayaya Sarveshwaraya Sadashivaya Sriman Mahadevaya Namaha. Look at the lilting poetry. It's so beautiful. It flows like a tranquil river. And the entire Rudradhyaya, the Rudra we are going to study is like that. It creates such an amount of joy swelling from inside. It bypasses our intellect and it touches our heart straight away. That is the greatness of this Rudra. So this is how we are going to structure our study. We are going to have chanting. And then repetition will be there, and everybody will get a chance to repeat. And then every class, in the beginning for about 10 to 15 minutes, the students will get an opportunity to present, if they wish to present. I have learned this section of the mantra that we learned last week. So here I am going to present it. So to the whole assembly, you can present your own learning. Then as far as the assignments are concerned, I understand that what we learn in 1 hour per week cannot be mastered immediately. So for all our chanting classes, I have said that the assignments need to be completed by the 2 weeks after the end of the course. So that means, say, for example, you got 3 months and the end of the course happens and you will have 2 weeks more. Within those 2 weeks, at the end of the course, all the portions that we have studied has to be in your voice. You record it and upload it on LMS, and that will be the grid. So if you wish, you can do it on a weekly basis, or if you're not confident on any particular week, you cannot do it. Maybe you are very busy, maybe you are not mastered it, but the deadline is 15 days after the end of the course. So that is how the submission and the grading will take place. And the stories and other embellish are more for, and it will not be part of the evaluation. The evaluation is purely on chanting. So we also, as part of the course, before the Rudra Namaka Prashna, we are also going to study the Lagunyasa. The Lagunyasa is where in different parts of our body, the different devatas are embedded. And then a person entire personality is actually energized by the presence of the various deities, and then that devotee becomes Rudra, and true to the rule, Narudro Rudra Marchayet, only by becoming a Rudra one can worship Rudra. Lagunyasa makes the person Rudra, and Rudra chanting takes place. So as a background for this, there is a beautiful story. This story from the Matsya Purana. there was a fight between ignorance, represented by darkness, represented by a demon called Andhakasura. If you have carefully noted the iconography of Nataraja, Shiva as a dancer, under his left foot there is a human form, and that human form is Andhakasura. And the legend I am about to say relates to that. In this fight between Shiva and Andhakasura, a drop of sweat from Shiva's body falls on the ground. Then it assumed a human form and grows into enormous proportions. And then this being starts devouring everything that is within reach. So this is signifying our consumerism. Everything I see, I want to have it. And that is considered as the sweat of Shiva, the greed. So this demon started devouring everything, and then all the other gods were so despaired. So they approached Shiva, and Shiva asked all these devatas to stand on the different parts of his body. And he said, as long you are standing on the different parts of my body, then this Andhakasura will be contained. So what does it mean? When I do the Lagunyasa and embed all the devatas in me, my body becomes Shiva's body, fortified by the presence of the devatas, and this demon called the greedy mind. The darkness of greed is in the mind. And this greedy mind, darkness, Andhakasura, who wants everything, is controlled. So the devatas made sure by standing on each part of the body that this mind is subdued but not killed, because we don't want to kill the mind. That is why you see under the foot of Andhakasura, Andhakasura is on the foot of Nataraja's foot, the left foot, but he is not dead. He pins him down, that is all. So that is how the Rudradhyaya has got 11 paragraphs. And these 11 paragraphs represent our 11 sense organs. The 5 organs of action, the 5 organs of knowledge, and the organ of mind. All these 11 organs are actually made divine by the 11 paragraphs of Rudra, which we are going to study. So I have given you a flavor as to how the class is going to be. We are going to introduce the mantra, we are going to chant, there is going to be a repetition. We will, as far as possible, we will learn the meaning of these mantras. We will also see the application of the mantras. And then we will design the metrics of how we can control our tamoguna, how we can spiritualize our rajoguna, and how we can increase our sattva. And then how all these mantras can be used in the Vedic ritual of puja, homa, yajna, chanting, meditation. So all of them will be the content of this course.
Very nice outline and background. Let me launch the poll, just see if people are interested in taking the course. I added a little thing about you'd like to take the course on a weekday during the daytime. Seems like we have good attendance today. If you're interested, just for us to take account of that. People are also asking, when would you do the intro to Vedic chanting next? So it's kind of quarter by quarter, right? And what you're offering, and I don't know if you have an idea of when you're going to offer Vedic chanting again.
In all probability, we will start in the summer quarter. In fact, now that I have moved to Orlando, and this is also happens to be the campus planning in-person retreats. So if If any of you is interested in in-person retreats, and then that is something that I will submit to the university, and then we will probably plan them, and chanting sessions, learning sessions, and also I will also talk about how the various Rudra mantras have been used in iconography. So there are many, many mantras of the Rudra that have been converted into painting, uh, and then into sculpture. And many of the many of the temples outside and inside have been decorated with forms of Rudra, which actually is a commentary on a particular mantra. So many artifacts are also available in many museums across the world. And I will also point out to you which museum has got which particular artifact. I'll give you one example. If any of you is from the Boston area, please go to the Boston Museum. In Boston Museum of Art, there is one head of Shiva with a headgear. There is a beautiful turban is there on his head. And that is an exact representation of a mantra, Nama Ushne Shine Cha. So you can see that. Or if you were to be visiting Tamil Nadu, and then you go to Chidambaram, the temple dedicated to Nataraja, you will see many dance postures in the Chidambaram Nataraja temple. And those dance postures, there are corresponding mantras in the Rudra. So that also we will be able to connect. And when you come to Orlando, Florida, we have a beautiful temple not too far from my house in Castleberry. And then in that, there is quite a bit of iconography inside, depicting the many lives of related mantras. So this will also add another experience to you, that when you go to any Tirtha Yatra, any temples, you can relate a particular phrase from the mantra to the iconography. So that also will be another fringe benefit of this course. So I'll share some PowerPoint presentations of the pictures I have taken or borrowed on these mantras, and that will add to your understanding of Rudra.
Wonderful. What a great background in getting into what happens in the course of the poll. People are filling it out. Sai Kaluriji is asking, so during this fall session, the whole Namakam recitation and meeting will be completed, and then his follow-up is all 11 Anuvakas.
Yes. Yes.
So the cost for this course is going to be, is it one unit or 1.5 units? It's a 1 unit course. So it's going to be a $200 course. If you're in Bharat or Greater Bharat or Africa or the Caribbean, we can give you a regional based scholarship. I'll put a link for that in the chat. Right, Swami Ambik Ananda from UK is saying that this course would be 2 a.m. over there. And then Nikki is saying this would be a 21:30 time block. And I think many of your courses have been in that same time block. So maybe if you're up for it, Shri Asoji, maybe you could teach 2 courses in 1 quarter at different time zones, kind of cater to different people. I know you've just moved and you have a lot of other commitments, but that could be a way to offer, and you're popular. People are enrolling in your course, and now you have these different branches. Anyway, I'm throwing it out there. I think a lot of attendees would appreciate that if you're popular.
I have had this question. I had this question not only from students interested in Europe, but also in Australia. And then one of the concessions we have given to them is that they can take the course and then they can actually learn from the recording. At the end of every class, the video recording of the class will be uploaded into LMS. And they can enroll in the course, follow the video recording, and submit all the assignments. And of course, they can always reach out to me. In fact, one of the things I have assured in all the sessions that I have so far conducted is, just because a particular quarter is over, it doesn't mean that I'm not available. Because even after the course is complete, 6 months back, 1 year ago, and then you have any questions, you want to learn something more, please do not hesitate to reach out to me, because this is not where we just say, okay, you got 11 courses over, but and this my availability will be for lifetime.
Wonderful, right? That Guru Shiksha relationship, trying to build it. So Prabhatji is asking, what is the relationship between Rudra Roop of Shiva with the concept of Rudra?
Yes, Rudra, the etymology of the Rudra is, they say Rudam samsara dukkham dravayati iti, means Rudra is the one who melts away all the sorrow of the samsara of our becoming. So the etymology of the word Rudra is in different contexts, is in different ways. One who makes a person weep is also one of the etymologies, and therefore the personality of Rudra is that he can be harmful, and then he can also be absolutely benevolent. It all depends on what guna I am manifesting. If I am manifesting tamoguna, rajoguna, and then I am manifesting negative qualities, Rudra responds it with anger. Whereas if I am manifesting sattva-guna, he responds with benevolence and grace. So that means it is in my hand as to how I will propitiate Rudra. Because if you go deeper into the philosophy, in the beginning itself, I said that Shiva is non-judgmental. Whatever spirit with which we approach him, that is the spirit with which he responds. And therefore, for a demon, a Shiva or a Rudra is harmful. Whereas for a sage, he blesses. For example, fire. Shiva is in fire. Yo Rudro Agnavyo. He is in fire. In fire, he can be actually very benevolent. He can cook my food. He can warm me. But at the same time, he can also create a conflagration. How do we use him? That is why, when we do a homa, when we do a yajna, we have a yajna kunda which brings the boundary in for the flame inside. And what is that boundary? The dharma, artha, kama, moksha. As long as our approach to Shiva is within that boundary, he is benevolent. Otherwise, like fire, like water. In fact, the Helena is supposed to have risen up 25 feet high, which is taller than a two-story building. And Shiva is in that. Yordro Agnavyo Apsu. In water, he is there. But the same water can nourish and can take away my thirst. So Shiva can be both. He can be terrible, fearful, or he can be extraordinarily benevolent, and therefore it all depends on how we approach him. So Rudradhyaya teaches us how to approach him. So that is why first mantra itself, Namaste Rudramanyava Utota Ishave Namaha. I bow down to your anger. Please put down your bow and arrow and become benevolent. So first prayer. So this is how we relate ourselves to Rudra, and the course also teaches us, we study how to relate to Bhagavan Rudra. So that is where our spiritual approach of Rudradhyaya also happens. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Prabhatji said, thank you for that great answer. Exactly. Eleanor Srinivasan has kind of a question, an interesting one. She's saying all sacred mantras say that they help reach the core of creation and link us to the divine. She emphasizes all, right? Can we really say that one is more powerful or meaningful than others?
No, everything, all the mantras, all the devatas to whom we worship, it all reaches to the same destination. So, but why do we have so many variety? It is because, again, please note our trigunas. So it goes back to that. So there are three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamo gunas, and they are associated with a color. Rajoguna, tamoguna is associated with black. Rajoguna is associated with red. And Sattva is associated with white. But all these three gunas are always mixed. Now, please consider when we create a mixture of red, white, and black, depending on the on the proportion of the individual colors, we can truly create infinite number of colors, isn't it? That is how in computer science we are able to create literally infinite number of pixels. It's only a combination of three colors. So therefore, each individual is made up of a different composition of the three gunas. And therefore, depending on that composition, he chooses a particular devata, but that devata leads to the one absolute. That is why we always say, Ekam Sat Vipraha Bahudha Vadanti. Rigveda itself has answered this question. There is only one reality, but the sages approach it as through many. That is all. So whether you are worshipping Vishnu, whether you are worshipping Shiva, Devi, everything leads ultimately to one ultimate. What is that ultimate? Jnatva devam shanti atyantameti. Having known, a person gets everlasting peace. And that's also a metric.
And again, so many layers and depth to this. Let's take a step back. Sean has a simple question. They're new to Rudra Mantra. Are there different types of Rudra mantras? Which mantra will be covered in that case here?
We are covering only from the Krishna Yajurveda, from the fifth book, from the fourth book, fifth chapter. So it is specifically selected from the Krishna Yajurveda. But there are other Rudra mantras also. There is a mantra, Rudra mantra in the Rigveda. So that we will offer at a later date, or probably in one of our retreats.
Wonderful. Some anonymous person is asking about the Samskrita Samvasa retreat in December. Are there prereqs? Yes, I think you should be able to at least read and write and probably speak Sanskritam if you're coming for a Sanskritam retreat, but we'll connect you offline with details for that if you leave information. I think,
really,
the demo.
there's no prerequisite. There's no prerequisite. I will be part of the Sanskritam retreat also.
You're doing that retreat
and then,
too?
in fact, I'll be, yes. And in tomorrow, I will be part of the panel and of that retreat. And tomorrow we are having a webinar. So I will be part of that webinar also. So it is the Sanskritam retreat is geared for people who absolutely do not know anything about Sanskritam and who also have some expertise in Sanskritam. So the whole spectrum will be covered.
Okay, that sounds complicated, but I know you've got a plan, and hopefully people will be interested in that. And you being a part of it, I know it's going to be successful. I'm glad that you're doing that, and we'll see you tomorrow for that webinar. Let's start. I think that's all of the questions in the Q&A box. I went through the chat as well, try to catch all the questions. This is the demonstration, going through the mantras. Ninaji, thank you for joining, and Premji. I'm sorry if other people wanted to chant and weren't able to follow, but what a great webinar, an example of what happens in the course. He took so many questions. If you haven't filled out the poll yet to let us know if you're interested in the course or time zone or the a retreat, please minimize, maximize, fill it in. We have 38 out of this. We almost had 70 people. We had over 70 people at one point, and we still have about 50. What an interesting little experiment that I think is successful and is gonna lead us to consider offering more courses at different times. Yeah, so last chance for questions. Thank you everyone so much for participating. It's always my pleasure. Shishyasoji, you take care of that hurricane. Glad that you're recovering strong and recovering from this COVID and offering and still on having a wonderful webinar and taking everyone's questions and engaging with us. So much, always appreciate it. And you're at the Castleberry Monday, right? That's the Hindu Society of Central Florida, or the Hindu Temple of Central
Yes,
Florida. That's really,
yes.
that is really close.
I'm only 5 miles away. I'm only 5 miles. I'm only 5 miles away from the Castleberry Temple. And
So great, so great.
Ankurji, if you have any questions I have not responded and it is there in the chat box, then if you can share it to me, I'll be able to address it in the course.
Yeah, no, Arunaji was just asking for a demo, right? A procedure to perform. So we did that exactly. I'll answer that one. Thank you, Arunaji, for that, of course. And Colin, yes, thank you for joining. Thanks to HUA for creating this platform. And I'm glad to be a part of this. And we're continuing to build, grow. This is our university. We want more people to participate as students, as faculty, as supporters, as friends of HUA, make this really a community and our university. So with that, let me hand it to Shishyasoji for closing comments and thoughts.
Yes, one closing comment. I travel quite a bit in the United States because of a number of my friends, number of students in different parts of United States. And then, so if any of you, as you have been chanting and learning, and if I come to your city, I will be delighted to meet with you and have a chanting session so that we can sit together and chant. So this I always do whenever I come to Bay Area, when I come to Southern California, Chicago, because I travel all over this country speaking, talk, and then conducting rituals. So we can always enhance our experience by coming together and studying. Another important closing statement I would like to do is, as I mentioned earlier, please join this course to become teachers. Always, when we learn to become teachers, you can teach your children, you can teach somebody in your family. It doesn't, you don't have to build another university. One person, two persons, and this is how we can perpetuate this extraordinary wisdom and knowledge that our sages have given to us. So please join, learn to teach, and become teachers. Thank you. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. And I can always be reached on email at shri.ashwath@hua.org, hua.edu. So if Ankurji, if you can please in the chat box post my email ID. Anyone who would like to reach out to me, and if you are in Orlando, I would love to meet you. And then so please send me a text and we will get together. Thank you. Hari Om.